Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Queen Celestine. The top stories this hour. Nigerian's president faces backlash over foreign student scholarship scheme. France returns military base to Senegal as part of broader withdrawal. U.S. President Trump urges Hamas to accept 60-day Gaza ceasefire deal. More details shortly. We begin with security matters. The Defense Headquarters says troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces arrested 1,191 suspected terrorists during various operations in the second quarter of 2025. Director of Defense Media Operations, Marcus Kange, disclosed this while briefing journalists on Thursday in Abuja. According to him, 543 kidnapped victims were rescued within the same period, while 682 terrorists and their families surrendered to the military. Kange added that troops under Operation Delta Safe also thwarted oil theft and illegal refining activities estimated at over 3.5 billion naira.
Mass surrender of Boko Haram and ISWAP/just terrorists due to troops' overwhelming firepower. For instance, our troops killed several terrorist kingpins and their foot soldiers, arrested over 1,191 of them, and rescued about 543 kidnapped victims. During the quarter also, about 682 terrorists and their families surrendered to our troops. Among the terrorists eliminated were dreaded Amir Abu Fatima, Kingpin Auta, Abdul Jamilu, Salih Sumalam, Jida, Maiwada, and Maidada, as well as Uwachi Eze, otherwise known as Onu. And just 2 days ago, a bandit kingpin, Yolo Dambokolo, succumbed to injuries sustained during an encounter with our troops the previous week, where many of his lieutenants were also eliminated. Additionally, some notorious gun runners and kidnappers on the troops' watch list were arrested and taken into custody for interrogation.
The House of Representatives is calling for the immediate establishment of a permanent military base in the Madagali axis of Adamawa State, following renewed attacks by armed assailants that left several people dead and many abducted. The resolution was passed during Thursday's plenary, where lawmakers expressed deep concern over persistent security breaches in the area. The House also called for an investigation into the continued violence in the Northeast and urged the National Emergency Management Agency to provide urgent humanitarian assistance to displaced residents. Lawmakers further urged the federal government to initiate recovery and rehabilitation programs to help rebuild affected communities and restore public confidence. A joint committee has been mandated to submit findings within 2 weeks. The House of Representatives has adopted 2 motions calling for stronger institutional inclusion and security reforms. One seeks to include the national president of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria in the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAAC. Another motion calls for the full implementation of the Nigeria Police Academy Act of 2021 to establish additional campuses nationwide. News Central's Idong Joseph reports from Abuja.
Your proposed amendment is still valid or not?
The call for local governments and the FCT Area Council representation in the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee followed a recent Supreme Court judgment reaffirming the autonomy of local governments.
The representative of the state had always represented local government council at FAC
However, in light of the current position of the Constitution as interpreted by the Supreme Court, it has become imperative that a representative of local government council per state and FCT area council be nominated to represent their interests at FAC.
The motion sparked extensive debate on the floor of the House.
162. Okay, fine. It's a constitutional provision. So you cannot amend the Constitution by way of a motion.
The section you mentioned in the Constitution, which is section 162(5) of the Constitution, was recently interpreted by the Supreme Court to the effect that local governments are to have financial autonomy. And that is exactly what the mover of the motion is asking that we should give effect to.
Since we know motion is just purely advisory, it does not have the force of the law, but that does not mean you cannot kickstart a process of discussion. You understand?
In a related move, the House urged the executive to fully implement the Nigeria Police Academic Act of 2021 to expand police training infrastructure and enhance the capacity of security personnel nationwide.
Section 3 of that Act, under the oversight of the Governing Council, empowers it to establish such campuses.
After heated deliberations, the motion was passed and referred to relevant committees of the House for further legislative action.
First, there has to be need in terms of need assessment. What we are having today, is it satisfactory? Do they have, is the institution overstretched? If it's overstretched, no problem, sir.
What I'm saying now, let's concentrate in the Nigerian Police Academy Udil, empower them, inject them with major projects so that they can be fully equipped.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
The House also considered a bill seeking to provide legal framework for free internet access in selected public places across Nigeria, which passed the second reading. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
And still on security matters, a joint delegation from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and U.S. congressional staff has expressed solidarity with Benue State following recent deadly attacks in Yelwata and other communities. During a courtesy visit to the Benue State Government House in Makurdi, the delegation led by UNHCR's Jesse Ansley stated that the crisis was being closely monitored in Washington, D.C. The team, which includes 8 U.S. congressional staff members, is on a fact-finding mission to evaluate humanitarian needs and the impact of U.S. aid in Nigeria. After visiting Borno State, they engaged with Benue officials and toured the internally displaced people's camp at Makurdi's International Market. The Kano State government has banned the importation of scrap and waste materials from the northeastern region of the country, following 2 deadly explosions at metal scrap yards in the state. The incidents, which occurred within 2 weeks in Kofaruwa and Kofa Damonwa, claimed 7 lives and left several other injured, promptly growing concern among residents and authorities. News Central Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It began on the 21st of June when a trailer loaded with metal scraps from neighboring Yobe State arrived at this scrap collection center. Hidden within the load were explosives, which detonated, killing 5 people and injuring 10 others. The police confirmed the blast and later revealed that 9 explosive devices were recovered from the scene. Authorities linked the incident to scavengers, popularly known as Babambula, involved in the scrap trade.
Most scavengers normally pick from the dustbin, waste bin, and other things from all over. So maybe they have just picked it from somewhere and they brought it with the truck to Kano, to the factory where they normally upload it.
Barely 2 weeks later, a second blast rocked a smaller scrap yard in Kofar-Dawano, Dala local government area. 2 more people reportedly lost their lives in the incident.
shi kuma guda ɗin sai da aka je asibiti amma ana dan an mai treatment ma haka to asibiti Allah ya mai rasuwa washi gari
ina tsaye kuma yana ga ana ta fitowa da bayan Allah kuma duk mutanen mu ne wanda ana fitowa da su abin ya rikirkita mu gaskiya ba mu ji daɗi ba amma muna fatan Allah subhanahu wataala ya kare sa wannan ne zai zama na farko kuma ya zama na ƙarshe
jiran mu ya sosu sosai da sosai wallahi ba mu ji daɗi ba sai dai mu ce Allah ya ji ɗansa Allah gafarta musu in ta mu ta ya samu cika da kyau da imani Allah ya kiyaye gaba.
The Kano State government announced a ban on the importation of metal scraps and waste from the northeast. The decision was disclosed in a statement by the Commissioner for Internal Security, Ibrahim Umaru, who said the measure is aimed at preventing further loss of lives and ensuring public safety. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
The reconciliation between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara is eliciting a wide range of reactions from politicians, civil society organizations, and residents of Rivers State. While some see the move as a new dawn of hope, others are still watching the political scene to gauge the sincerity and impact of the new reconciliation. News Central's Biola Festus sampled opinions and now reports.
The feud between suspended Governor Fubara and his political godfather began in 2023 over alleged accusations of high-handedness by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and alleged attempts by Fubara to dismantle the minister's political structure. The feud rapidly escalated into political chaos, with lawmakers loyal to the FCT minister attempting to impeach the governor. The situation was exacerbated by arson attacks on the assembly complex and local government secretariats. Ultimately, both the governor and assembly members were suspended by the presidency. Although many political watchers had called for stability in the state, the recent peace deal between Wike and Fubara has received mixed reactions. For some residents, it signifies peace at last after a long period of political turmoil that had brought governance to a standstill.
As Governor Wike and Governor Fubara, so they've reconciled. Oh, glory to Jesus, I'm happy. So does it mean that Governor Fubara is now going to his office again? Oh, thanks be to God. This is prayer answered. Even in my church, we have been praying that there must be peace.
It was really a setback to every person that is not only in Rivers State, but also in our country. You understand? And I just hope other persons will learn from this. You understand? We are humans, one can make mistakes. Understand? But the beauty of it all is that both of them have been able to come together to reconcile. And that's what we're interested in. So there's going to be more opportunities for investment. People can now move freely. This rumor of Port Harcourt is not peaceful will come to an end.
Meanwhile, some other political gladiators are taking the peace pact with a pinch of salt.
Until I hear, with these my 2 ears, that suspension has been lifted, as unconstitutional as it is, that unconstitutional act, they apologize for it, and that therefore it's been lifted, and the state is put back in the hands of a Rivers man to run.
However, civil society organizations are questioning the basis for the reconciliation and demanding that the public be let in on the conditions.
That peace arrangement is in favor of reversible. If Governor Sim did never agree to the peace pact, the peace arrangements, how would he come and put in place the development activities he has already put in place? How can he come and finish them?
It's a lesson for you to know that in politics, there's no permanent enemy and permanent friend. So anytime you see two big people fighting and all, they don't need to take it personally, they don't need to take a side or any other thing. Just for you to continue preaching peace and see if both of them will reconcile. The way they reconcile now, you can see the atmosphere of everybody's happy.
While the people of Rivers State continue to advocate for the restoration of democracy in the state, all eyes will be focused to see how far the truce between these political giants will help achieve peace. In Rivers for News Central, Biola Festus.
The M23 armed group says it is seeking further dialogue with the Democratic Republic of Congo's government to resolve key issues it claims were excluded from a recent peace deal. The announcement comes just days after the DRC and Rwanda signed a U.S.-brokered agreement in Washington aimed at ending the deadly conflict in eastern Congo that has claimed thousands of lives. U.S. President Donald Trump described the deal as a new chapter of hope and opportunity for the troubled region. However, the Rwanda-backed M23, one of the main rebel groups in the area, was not part of the Washington negotiation. The group is now calling for a separate ceasefire agreement with Kinshasa as talks between the two sides continue in Qatar.
Nous allons partir avec ces mesures d'établissement de confiance sur la table pour commencer à faire la paix. D'abord que les armes se taisent et puis commencer à traiter les causes profondes. Voilà un peu la situation. Donc d'ici là, nous allons prendre l'avion et faire Doha pour continuer les pourparlers. Qu'elles soient ouvertes pour que les populations bénéficient de leurs comptes. Que les discours de haine, discrimination cessent. Et que nos populations puissent avoir le libre accès. Les populations dans les zones sous contrôle du régime de Kinshasa arrivent dans nos zones, ils s'approvisionnent dans nos zones. Lorsque nos populations quittent nos zones pour aller dans les zones gouvernementales, ils sont arrêtés, ils sont traités d'espions. Que cela cesse. Sisi hiyo mazungumzo ya Washington tunaisupport, kwani tupatia sisi mlango pa nafasi na meza ya kuzungumzia tuweze kutekeleza shida zetu kati yetu sisi Wakongomani.
And still ahead, House of Reps passes Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. Details of this. President Donald Trump has hailed the passage of his flagship tax and spending bill by Congress, describing it as a major victory for the U.S. economy. Speaking to reporters ahead of a rally in Iowa to kick off celebrations marking America's 250th birthday, Trump said the bill would boost the economy like a rocket ship. President Trump praised lawmakers for what he called a bold step toward restoring economic strength and prosperity in the country. The rally in Iowa is part of a series of events marking the historic milestone as the nation prepares to celebrate 2.5 centuries of independence.
And we're sort of celebrating like the biggest bill of its kind ever signed. And it's going to make this country into a rocket ship. It's going to make it great. Mr. President.
Earlier, Global Affairs analyst Ejike Okpa shared his thoughts on this development.
Analysis, for that is up in the air. The wealthy people, whether people like it or not, they're the ones that bring the jobs. They're the ones that spend the most money. If they spend 1% of the wealth capacity is probably more than 1,000 people spending $1,000. So let's not just have any sentiment or undue concern about the wealthy. America is one country that gives you an opportunity to be as big as you can. So if you work hard and luck being on your side, you can get wealthy. But the tax thing is always a very sensitive matter for any individual. Americans want more money in their pocket, as opposed to having that money go to the government, because government anywhere in the world, they're not the ones that are very good in spending your money. But there are certain things the government, are good in doing, which is, border security. No country will have any integrity if it's an open border, come on, come on, or public safety. Every other thing is about economic benefit, economic impact. How are the jobs being created? What are the incentives that encourage businesses to create jobs? Because those are the things that really matter at the end of the day for anybody. Where do you go to work? What are you getting paid? So this tax bill is welcome, development. The president is able to do it, 6 months after he took office. No president has worked as hard as he has to get a major bill like this passed.
And now in business, the Naira appreciated to 1,565 Naira per dollar at the parallel market on Thursday, rising from 1,580 Naira on Wednesday. Perpetua has more on this and other business stories.
In business, Naira appreciated to 1,565 Naira per dollar at the parallel market on Thursday, rising from 1,580 Naira on Wednesday, reflecting growing short-term strength. According to data from Nairametrics, it had remained stable at 1,580 Naira per dollar between Tuesday and Wednesday, after weakening slightly from 1,575 Naira on Monday. At the official window, the Central Bank of Nigeria reported the Naira traded at 1,525 Naira per dollar on Wednesday, improving from 1,527 Naira the previous day. Intraday highs and lows ranged from 1,532 to 1,524. The Naira also gained against the British pound, appreciating to 2,170 Naira per pound from 2,175 Naira per pound. And offshore now, the United States has opened the application portal for the H-2B visa program, allowing employers to request temporary non-agricultural foreign workers to roles beginning October 1, 2025. The application window runs from July 3 to July 5, 2025. The program, capped at 66,000 visas annually, supports sectors like hospitality, landscaping, and construction during seasonal labor shortages. Each fiscal year, 33,000 visas are collected for October to March and another 33,000 for April to September. Workers can stay up to 3 years before a mandatory 3-month exit period. The initiative addresses labor gaps in peak demand periods.
And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Defense headquarters reveals that troops nabbed 1,191 insurgents, rescue 543 kidnapped victims in second quarter operations. APC slams opposition coalition, calls ADC platform a gathering of deceivers. We also told you that U.S. Congress has passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Queen Celestine.